Okay. Are y'all ready to hear more of Professor X's story as he talks about how he and his stepbrother Cain Marco grew up together, and we'll learn about how Professor X became who he is, and then especially we need to know about Cain Marco and how he became such a powerful enemy. So we're going to pick up the story where Charles and Cain are college age. Let's see what's going on with them. All right, look, they're in a car together driving around a mountainous road around a curve. He says, the final tragedy occurred when Cain offered to drive me to college after vacation. Hoping to win his friendship, I accepted. But then, look, he's driving wild. Charles says, you're driving like a madman. We'll never stay on the road. Oh, we won't, eh? Retorts Cain. You're better than I am in sports, in studies, and almost everything, but now I've got the top hand. I'm going to drive like this until you beg me to stop, till you cry out in fear. Charles thinks if I try to stop him, he might lose control. Look at his anger. And sure enough, then it happened. I didn't see the detour, hollers Cain. Jump, jump. And so he crashes through the roadblocks and the car goes over the cliff. What's going to happen? It was too late for me. Although he would never know it, I had used my own mental power to help Cain leap to safety while I remained in the car a split second too long. And so look, he's stuck in the car going over the cliff. He thinks, I can't get out. I'm going over. Was that how you lost the use of your legs, Professor? Good question. But Professor says no. That happened another time at the hands of the man you know as Lucifer. Do you remember the evil Lucifer, the opponent that they defeated underground? Well, Professor says I managed to survive the crash by harnessing my brain power to its fullest extent by creating a mental shield around me. Although I was badly hurt, I lived. But I'll never forget the shock, the pain of that terrible moment. It looks frightening. Boom! Suddenly, another loud noise, and Cyclops says, look out, the whole building is shaking. Quick, grab the professor, says Beast. Don't let him fall. Don't worry about me, says the professor. I'm all right. The window. Look out the window. And Angel looks and he says, it's impossible, incredible, inconceivable. How many words are there? And yet, he did it, says Iceman. He broke through the force barrier. I see something moving. It's him. And look, we again see his gigantic silhouette. Look at the size of him. He doesn't look human. And still there's another glowing cable that issues a powerful force. Then, as the monstrous figure comes closer, they see he's heading for the hollow logs with the grenades in them. Maybe they will stop him. And look, his foot trips a wire. He tripped the release wire. He'll be stopped now. But if that doesn't hold him, what will? Boom, 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 boom. The grenades are shooting out of the logs like mortar shells. He's drawing back. Bullseye! They've loosed their sleep gas all around him. Boom, boom, boom. But why doesn't he fall? We can see him a little better now as we see how well shielded and armored he is. all it did was anger him. He's smashing them all with one blow. Pow, and he knocks all of the logs down. Whoosh! Now he's reached the second row. That gas is strong enough to stop a herd of elephants. Whoosh! He's staggering. He's falling back. We did it. If only we could see more clearly. The smoke and haze are concealing him. I'll keep the gas out of this busted window with a coating of ice, says Iceman. And so he coats the window with a thick coat of ice, but they can still see through it. Beast says, I still don't understand. Cain Marko was just an ordinary, unsavory character. How did he become so powerful? The thing that threatens us out there is a far cry from the man who was once Cain Marko. And now Cyclops and Marvel Girl reseat the professor in his wheelchair. And he says, now I'll finish my tale, for I fear our time is running out. And look, the other X-Men are looking out. The Beast says, he's still trying to get up. What is he made of? Professor X says, I owe it to you to tell you what you face, to tell you how Cain Marko got his power, the one power on Earth that may finally defeat us. So he continues his story. The last time I ever saw him was in Asia during the Korean War. You'll have to ask your dad about the Korean War. We had been serving together until the day that Cain deserted under fire. And so Cain, although he was a soldier, he ran away. He deserted the army in his fear. He says, those shells are coming too close. I'll duck into this cave and sit the war out for a while. Nobody will ever find me in here. But Charles follows him and says, Cain, come back, you fool. That's a court-martial offense. Cain, don't do it. Rushing in after him, continues Professor, my heart seemed to stand still as I realized. It's the sacred lost temple of Sitarak. Legends have warned of it for centuries. Look at this ancient temple with signs on the walls and this great statue. And Cain says, that ruby, it looks alive. There's an inscription on it. But Charles says, no, don't touch it. Don't. But he's reaching out and grabbing it. He will seize it. And when he does, Charles realizes my warning was too late for Cain and for the world. Cain reads the inscription, whosoever touches this gem shall possess the power of the crimson bands of Sitarak. Henceforth, you who read these words shall become forevermore a human juggernaut. Juggernaut, a powerful, unstoppable opponent. All right, Charles says, drop it, Cain, drop it. You don't realize what that means. Those desperate words were not yet out of my mouth when something is happening. Cain says, something's happening to me. I'm changing. Nothing can stop it now, realizes Charles. Cain Marko no longer exists, and in his place, an evil human juggernaut has come into being. What? Asks Charles. That explosion. The Reds, that is the communists, are shelling this area. The cave is collapsing. Look, boulders falling all around Cain and Charles. Charles escapes. I was nearer to the opening than he who had been Cain Marko, so I managed to escape by a hair's breadth, while the creature within the cave was buried beneath 1 trillion tons of falling rock and rubble. Even if the cave-in doesn't kill him, realizes Charles, it will take years before he can dig out from beneath the gigantic mountain which covers him. But if he should break free, I can think of no power on earth capable of stopping him. and he'll find me. The crimson bands of Sitarak will lead him to me, no matter where I may hide. And so Charles runs, but he is fearful of the Juggernaut. And so Angel asks, but what was the temple of Sitarak, and what is the power of the Juggernaut? The professor answers, Sitarak is the most mysterious of all the deities of black magic. When he was finally driven from our own world, he left behind him the curse of the Juggernaut. Beast says, I can see him. He's rising again. Just as I feared he would, says the professor. As for the power of the Juggernaut, I simply quote the dictionary. A gigantic, inexorable force which moves onward, irresistible, crushing anything it finds in its path. Then that's why he gets through all our obstacles. Nothing can stop a Juggernaut. But how do you know it's him? It could be anyone. But look, the Juggernaut, even though he's been driven to his knees, he's getting up again. He's unstoppable. Only the Juggernaut could have made Cerebro shriek the way it did, and only the Juggernaut could prove invulnerable to all our defenses. And look, now that he's up, he swings a mighty blow against the remaining logs. Angel says, but our next defense should stop him. It's the gas which causes loss of balance. And without normal balance, says the beast, a man must topple and fall. Something tells me, says Iceman, that Juggernaut is a lot more than just a man. Well, that's what Professor X has been telling them all along. Haven't they been listening? I've been listening. Juggernaut is much more than just a man. All right, Cyclops, there is another precaution we've forgotten, says Professor. Yes, answers Cyclops. I just thought of it too. Quick, raise the steel inner wall. Angel flies and says, let me do it. I'm fastest. Beast says, I will do it with alacrity, leader man. And Iceman says who? My ice slide will beat you easy. And so they're all three running toward the last defense. And the beast says, if you stalwarts insist upon making a race of it, don't discount the beast. Iceman, says the angel, stay out of my way. This is no joke, Bobby. Who's in your way, says Iceman. Just fly over my head, Angel. Angel says, oh no, that'll carry me past the wall switch. Look out. Whoomp! All three of them run into each other in their haste to get there first. Angel, Beast, Iceman, hollers Cyclops. Every second counts. Get that wall raised. And so instead of racing and whumping, they need to take care of business. Beast knocks the other two out of the way. Thup, bok. You heard the man. We're acting like a gaggle of irresponsible juveniles. And so, the beast raises his foot and click, throws the lever. There, now we can resume our little Donnybrook. I was hoping you'd say that, you big ape, says Iceman. Careful, you two, says Angel. I've just had my wings curried. And so they decide to have a little scuffle right there. Seconds later, they watch the steel barrier rise. There she goes, says Iceman. Step aside, Bobby, whilst yours truly tests it. Tests it? How? And so look, like this, you snow-covered stripling, and the beast bounces toward the steel barrier. Bonk! And he bounces off it. Whew! Rather you than me, Hank. Yowf! Says Beast. Nothing will penetrate that. Professor X, however, is not quite that sure. Let us go to the front door. He is certain to attack at that point. Cyclops asks, How can you know that, sir? And the professor answers, because it is directly in line with the path he is making, and a juggernaut never changes its course for anything. Brr, says Marvel Girl. You speak of him as if he's a machine rather than a human being. Professor says, I'm afraid, my dear Marvel Girl, that he ceased being human many years ago on that fateful day in the temple of Sitarak. Quiet. I hear dull, heavy footfalls through the steel door. He's almost upon us. Boom, 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 boom. The footsteps are coming closer and closer. Professor, says Beast, if he should smash through this last steel barrier, can you stop him by mentally affecting his brain? A good question, Henry, says the professor, but I have a bad answer. I've been trying to probe his mind since first he appeared, but it's useless. When he gained the staggering power of Sitarak, he also gained a mystic mental defense against which I am totally powerless. Look, the steel wall, it's bulging inward. It's buckling more and more with steady, ever-increasing pressure. Look at it. Can you see it's bending inward? The force of the Juggernaut is staggering. Now, do you begin to conceive of the unimaginable power that the Juggernaut possesses? Oh my. Back! Get back! He's crashing through! Scrack! The walls had 50 times the tensile strength of battleship steel, but he's splitting it, peeling it apart, just like a thin layer of plywood. Bam! The steel breaks under unimaginable power. Bobby, says the professor, we need a wall of ice, fast, to protect us from flying shards of steel. But that's only a temporary expedient, says Hank. True, it won't stop Juggernaut, but it will protect them from that steel. Clench! He broke through. He broke through the steel. He broke through the ice. We see his fist. Now it's up to us, realizes Angel. This is it, says Cyclops. We're done with defenses. It's power against ours now. No matter how unstoppable he is, says the Beast, we mustn't let him reach the professor. Let's go. So all 5 of them storm ahead. Hold it, back, all of you, says Cyclops. Let me give him a blast with my power beam first. It'll give us some measure of his strength. I think that's a good idea. More, says Marvel Girl. Give him full intensity, Cyclops. I am, but it isn't stopping him. He's pushing my ray back as though it is a solid thing. No one of us can defeat him alone. We've got to rush him together, now. It's no use, says Marvel Girl. He swept us aside like paper dolls. But the professor, he's heading for the professor. There seems to be nothing they can do to stop him. Professor thinks I'm lashing out at him with every bit of mental power I possess, but still he comes. And now he's here, and we see him. And he says, so, dear brother, we meet again. What a pity it is for the last time. Then it's true, answers Professor. Cain Marco has become a human juggernaut. And there he is. He's tall, he's wide, he's powerful. He has a helmet on that protects him from the professor's mental power. And so the editor says, next issue, one of the greatest battles of all time, as the irresistible Juggernaut battles the unconquerable X-Men to the bitter end. You must not miss it. And so, this story of the X-Men versus the Juggernaut has only just begun. And it is the next issue when we will finish this great, amazing, mighty battle. What will that look like? Well, here's what it looks like. Where walks the Juggernaut? And so we see the X-Men. Here's the angel flying toward the Juggernaut. But look, who's helping them? It's the Human Torch. He makes a guest appearance in this next story. But look at the Juggernaut. He's surrounded by a force field that makes him unbeatable. How will they defeat him? Or will he defeat the X-Men? We'll have to wait until next issue to find out. Until then, lots of love, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.